What the fuck?
Hi, I'm Sean Epperson with Thing12 Games, lead designer, and I'm here on the Legends of Tabletop podcast, about to be grilled on Dirty Cops.
Hey, Sean, thanks for coming today. We're glad to
Thank
have
you,
you.
sir.
This is our 37th episode that we've done for our regular podcast, our interview style podcast. So thank you for coming on and being part of that. I am John,
And I'm Vince.
and we'll kind of jump right into this thing here. So, according to Kickstarter, Dirty Cops is your first game. Is this your first foray into board game design, or have some other things under your belt?
This is my first foray into physical game design. I've actually been in the games industry for about 16 years, a little over 16 years, primarily doing video games and producer and developer of video game content. But I mean, I have a long history of board games, playing D&D, designing, working with some friends to design our own RPG type games and all that kind of stuff. So this isn't like anything brand new to me, but brand new for us to actually just start our own company and go for it.
Sweet, very good. You're living the dream.
Exactly.
So you're saying you're in video game development and stuff. Has that translated at all into designing this first board game or card game?
It really has, in a huge way. So in video game development, we were doing handheld stuff. You have to do a lot of playtesting, and you have to learn how to be able to kind of take it on the chin when you're doing a lot of playtesting, simply because you're going to people that don't really like your game, people that don't get it, and that helped me as eventually to become the designer of this game. That when I start showing it to people, when they're like, I don't like it, to go, well, okay, that's cool, just roll with it. It's no big deal. To not take it, so much to heart, especially when it's your baby. You have a tendency to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And just having that ability to sit down with people you don't know and kind of walk them through a game and help them kind of learn how it works and how to solicit feedback from people without leading them into the answers that you want. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff that I've taken away from video game development and applied that to this game's development.
Sure. Now, has the playtesting, do you feel it's helped you better design games and rules? Because a lot of times when you're developing a product like that, you write the rules and you know what you mean, so you write them in such a way that you understand them, and then you get them out in the wild and people are like, the hell is this supposed to mean?
Absolutely. Playtesting, you can never playtest too much. So I came up with a game, and then I worked on it for about 6 months, and then I hit public playtesting, and that was where I really got a huge chunk of material that was useful to fix things, to add some things I hadn't considered, to get rid of some things that I liked, but just people weren't really jiving with. So that was super important to the game and has made it a really tighter experience for everybody.
Cool. Very cool. And you're talking about playtesting. You're part of Playtest Northwest. You want to tell us a little bit about that group there?
Yeah, Playtest Northwest is an awesome group to be a part of. I think it's like $25 a month. I believe their dues are about the same, but don't go beyond that. Check the website for sure. But the really cool thing about it is that it allows us to go out to all the major game stores in the Seattle area and do playtests on weekends and have new people coming in. We've been up and down the whole greater Northwest area playtesting with different groups simply because of them. They got us into Dragonflight Con, they got us into Geek Girl Con, into PAX, they got us into Emerald City Comic Con. Like, we've been into a lot of huge conventions, not just the local game stores, but a lot of huge conventions simply because of them. I tried getting into PAX on my own to do some playtesting, and that was just not going to happen at all.
Yeah.
So the fact that I could get in and do 2 or 3 days of 8-hour testing, that's just huge. It's massive, and I came away with tons of really good stuff. So yeah, they've been worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, for sure. PAX is a monster. I'm sure the waiting list to get in, get on the list. There's probably a list for the list.
Right, you have to wait for someone to die to be able to get in. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Have you ever done or considered going to Gen Con or Origins or any of the other ones more towards the middle East Coast?
Yeah, I really want to go to Gen Con. I'd love to go to BGG. Mostly it's just finances of getting a flight and flying out there and all that kind of hotels and all that. It's a pretty significant cost, so that's
Yeah.
the only thing kind of hamstringing us.
Yeah, that's my situation with Gen Con right now. I'm looking at flights already, and they're up over 400, close to $500 from here, and I'm like, I don't know.
Ouch. That
It's a very,
hotel, yeah,
very expensive weekend.
yes.
All right, so we're on here to talk about Dirty Cops. And should tell us a little bit about the game.
Well, it's a 2 to 4 player game where people get to work together as a team of cops, and they work together.
I was gonna say.
Because you're going to be stabbing your buddy in the back to try and get the most money at the end of the game. So there really is a cooperative element to it, which if people don't kind of pick up on that, they figure out pretty quickly that we have to work together to kill off these criminals before we stab each other in the back and everything goes to crap.
And you force a little bit of that cooperative element too by the primary player gets to divvy out the loot at the end of each turn. So if it's like, hey, it's all mine, I'm going to keep everything. It's not going to go so well when you get to the next turn.
Yeah, exactly. And the lead guy actually does have to divvy some things up equally, but they have this strategic decision to make. Do they share out more of the drugs? Do they share out more of the guns? Do they share out more of the cash? Do they set someone up knowing that they're going to have to pay a bunch of cash to get healed up? Like,
A little bit of everything.
yeah, there's some really interesting decisions that you have to make, and something's up when the lead detective starts giving you a bunch of drugs. You're like, okay, something's coming.
Right.
Where's it coming at me? Because you're gunning for me. I get it.
So take us through like a quick turn. A quick turn through. You start with so many cards. I'm looking. I probably should have pulled this up before, but I didn't.
Yeah, so you start with a hand of the primary elements of the game, which are some combat cards, some defense stuff, some ways to manipulate combat, and then some straight up like extra boost of combat, and then some cards that represent the backstabby element of the game, which are the action cards. So your hand is about 6, and then you get to draw 1 at the beginning of your turn, so you can draw strategically. Then you get into fighting out the criminals, so you find out which criminal is going to be attacking who, because each criminal targets a very specific cop based on specific criteria. And once you know where they're going, then everybody can start figuring out what their attack plan is going to be. And criminals get to attack, then the cops get to attack, and if there's any criminals left standing, then you just sort of wash, rinse, repeat on that process. Once all the criminals are dead, then the lead detective has to sort out all the loot, gives everybody an equal split of the goods, and then things just go to hell.
Now, is it a group to set up the crime scene so you kind of know what's coming, or how does that mechanic work?
That works, so you get to see what's coming out, and the group can put it out together. Usually the lead detective is the one that brings them all out. And so each one is targeting, let's see, there's things like targets the player left of the lead detective, might target the oldest cop at the table, targets the cop with the most drugs. So there's a lot of interesting elements that they use for targeting, which means that if you're not careful, there are some targets that will actually shift during gameplay. Mm-hmm. So you may be doing something and you're like, oh crap, I just made myself a target of this guy now. It used to be you, now I'm toast. That's great.
Right. Now within that turn, do you draw additional cards within a turn, or do you just play what's in your hand? Yes.
So you start off with 7 cards. After all the criminals come out, and you draw your 7th card, and then you go through after combat. Everybody gets to draw 3 more cards, and you draw depending on what your choice. So you may be like, man, I'm just getting hammered. I got still more guys to deal with. I need to draw more combat cards. Or you may be like, yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm well defensed up. I'm gonna go for action cards so I can really screw people over. Or you may see someone go for action cards to screw someone over. Like, well, I need action cards to take care of you too. So yeah, it's
Right. Very cool. And then after all the cash and stuff is divvied up, you can put your money in your offshore account, which is how you're gonna save your money to put up towards the end of the game. The person with the highest amount of cash is gonna win.
Yep. Yeah. So, and it's an optional thing. Some people choose to let it ride, but because you have to pay 50% of the money you put in there. So, say you put $800 in your vault, well, you've got to pay $400 for that processing fee.
Mhm.
And so it's that. Well, am I going to gamble, or do I don't trust anybody here not to really hammer on me, so I need to start tucking this away. And that actually came from a playtest session at Dragonflight Con. There was a player that was just getting hammered through the game, and he's like, man, I haven't been able to make any progress. You need some way to be able to secure your funds. I'm like, that's a really good point. So we ended up putting that card in there, and it was a huge win for the game.
Sweet. Benefits of playtesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Playtesting.
So I'm scrolling back through again. I said I'm prepared, but I'm only quasi-prepared. So if you get in on the Kickstarter now, you can get the game. It's the ride-along pledge level. You get one copy of Dirty Cops plus all the unlocked stretch goals and access to the print and play file. So that's on par with any board game you're going to find out there. Maybe a little cheaper than some Fantasy Flight.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and you actually and we have a reduced cost from the retail cost as well, so it's a little cheaper on the Kickstarter.
Right. That's usually the way. And you got quite a bit of stuff in here. I'm scrolling again. 114 game cards, 184 game tokens, 15K in Dirty Cop cash, and of course the instruction booklet. So you're getting a nice chunk of stuff there for your $35.
And the more we've got a couple of unlock cards, plus we have some of the bonus cards that people have bought into, the premium tier ones where you get to design your own weapon and design your own criminal card, and those are going to actually appear in the Kickstarter copies as well. So you'll get some bonus stuff in there. Cool,
very cool. And at the Kingpin level, you also get the play mat, which looks really cool. Get everything all set up, keeps everything all organized. It looks really nice.
Yeah, thanks. Our artist worked pretty hard on that, and I love how thematic it was and really tied well into the game.
Oh, so that leads me to two more questions. I'm glad you said that. It's almost like we rehearsed. So the artwork for the game was done by Dominic Sedano. Is he part of Thing12 Games, or was he contracted out to do the artwork specifically for the game?
He's kind of contracted out. He's a good friend of mine. Because I worked in the games industry for so long, I have a lot of different contacts, artists, and other designers and coders, and whatever. Like just a huge group of friends. And he's an amazing artist, for one, and he was the first guy that came to mind when I was working on this game and started thinking, well, this could actually be something that I could put up on Kickstarter. His art style was just a natural fit for it. And when I talked to him, he was like, yeah, that sounds like a really cool game. I'm on board. And the first things he started chunking out, some of the character portraits, I was like, yeah, this is absolutely right. You've got this nailed down. I haven't really had to give him any kind of direction per se, or a couple of things here and there that we had to tweak, but almost all the time that he delivers something, it's like, wow, that's exactly right. That's exactly what it needs to be. So it's been a huge pleasure working with him.
Sweet, very cool. Yeah, it's a kind of a unique style. It really stands out. The cover is just the cover's fantastic.
We want something that just look. If you go to the game store and you look at a lot of the board images, they all kind of blend in together, right? There's this sort of like common theme. We want something that sort of stood out, and when he gave us that, it was like, this looks like an icon that you would see in the App Store. Like, it's really eye-catching. Immediately it tells you kind of what's going on. There's this sort of like, what's this question, promotes questions, like, I want to know more about this. Like, it was just great. I loved it.
Cool. This may be an odd question. I'm not sure in the day and age that we live in. Have you gotten any blowback at all because of the name? Especially with things going on in the news, that sort of stuff now.
Yeah. I honestly expected to, and I haven't had too much. I had one person earlier, like way back in the day when I was first started doing public playtests. Uh, I posted on some local places Facebook page that we were going to be there, and she told me that she's like, "Well, I hope, no offense, but I hope your game fails." Like, okay. So I engage her, like, well, explain why, please. And we started talking, and she's like, well, my husband is a steep patrol, and I just don't like, this game. Like, well, let me explain a little bit about what the game is, and it's you're not going out there hurting citizens. You're not attacking people because of color or anything like that. It's all just a team that's infighting with each other and fighting over stuff. That's why they're dirty. And you sort of have that ability in the game to be as clean or as dirty as you want. And once I explained that to her, she's like, "Oh, well, that's actually not so bad then. I hope your game succeeds." So I think it was the one time in the history of the internet that two people had a differing opinion and came to a very clean mutual respect of each other at the end. Like, wow, that doesn't ever happen.
Yeah, not usually. It's whoever yells louder.
Right.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Like I said, these days you never know, where people's heads are at, and
Yeah, I expected a lot of stuff in the comments like, "Well, I don't like this game because you're anti-cop" or something like that, and that's really not the case. Like, I have a lot of respect for police officers, and I've had a couple that have seen the game, and they like the humor in it. They couldn't they're like, "I can't publicly back your game, but we appreciate it. I think it's really funny." So I'm like, "Oh, I can get that."
yeah. Had you thought about maybe a pledge level, or donating, the Kickstarter stuff, but donating like a portion to local police charity or any of that sort of thing?
We talked about that a little bit. We weren't sure what sort of response we were going to get from people, so we're like, well, let's just do this first and see how things go, and we can kind of pivot based on responses of people. But we were cutting our margins pretty thin as it was, so we didn't have a whole lot that we could use to donate. So, maybe if we can get a little more traction in the future at something we can go back and do, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, once the stores pick it up, yeah, you want to be like Cole Mini or not in Zombicide. You do your Kickstarter, and then you wind up getting the game in the store, and then you're just producing for fun and profit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we're like, okay, 5% of every copy sold will go to the police, something like that.
Yeah, not to put you on the spot. I just
Oh yeah.
That was thought kind of thing.
Yeah. Like I said, that is something that we did talk about and try to figure out if we could do, but not yet, unfortunately.
Yeah. Going back to the other thing you brought up was theme in the game. How important do you think is theme when designing a game? I mean, we're far past the age of Parcheesi, where you're just kind of going around, you want to go home, or sorry, or something like that, where
right.
Most of the real board gamers now are heavy into theme and things.
It seems to be kind of dependent on the area, on the location. So American games tend to be a lot more thematic, where Euro games tend to be a little bit less thematic and more rules oriented, where you get that sort of like Ameritrash and all that. I hate Ameritrash as a title, so that's a whole other subject. But you're starting to see, I think, kind of a mix of there's the really theme-heavy games and games that are a little more cerebral, a little more abstract, also starting to take hold as well in the American spectrum. So I think there's definitely room for both sides of that coin, and as the whole board gaming world kind of keeps growing, I think you're going to see more of that.
Okay. And just sort of tying into that, do you think it's important to come up with a theme before developing mechanics, or is it chicken egg sort of thing, or just not important?
I think it kind of depends on the designer. For me, the theme usually comes first, but it comes right on the mechanics kind of come right on the heels of that theme as well. for Dirty Cops, it was definitely the theme first. Like I literally woke up from a dream that I had had of the game, going, well, I've seen cop, focused games. I've seen criminal focused games, but I haven't seen a game that kind of has a blend of those two concepts. And like, well, okay, how would I go about that? And then I started thinking of like, cards to play and criminals and all that sort of stuff. So this one was definitely triggered by theme. I've got a couple others that are on the docket for in the future, like game concepts that are driven off a specific mechanic. Like, well, I haven't seen this sort of mechanic done this way. And then after I started thinking about that mechanic, then that theme kind of starts to come to me a little bit, and I put some notes down. I'm like, well, I'll get to that in the future.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. So Kickstarter has made it pretty much so that anybody with an idea can publish a board game at this point, or attempt to publish a board game.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing, actually. In the past, like being relegated to just like the Milton Bradleys and the big guys, they didn't want to take risks, and Dirty Cops is especially like, there's no way none of the big guys are going to touch a potentially risky title like that. Just no way. So having something like Kickstarter allows the indie guys to go, yeah, okay, I want to do something. It's going to be a little more off the wall, a little different, something that you're not going to expect to see on like a Walmart shelf. And if people like it, they're like, yeah, that's really cool, and it takes off and do really great.
Right. Cool.
You just mentioned, you hinted at other games you have waiting in the wings. Could you tell us a little bit about those?
Yes, let's see. What can I say? Okay, so there is one that's pretty close. We're probably going to be putting this out, I think, early June, called Dice of Crowns. And that is being primarily designed by a friend of ours that's actually publishing underneath our company, Thing12, named Badger, Brander Roulette. And Badger came up with this game. He does a lot of the micro games, the smaller, more compact stuff. And he brought this game to me, and he was like, I was thinking about putting it out there on GameCraft or something like that. But as we played it, like, this has a lot of really cool mechanics to it. This is a really simple, fast-playing game. It's really neat. I think this is something that we should be publishing under Thing12 because we've got all the financial hoopla that you don't have to deal with. You can just kind of work on it, and I'll help guide you, and I'll help like basically co-design this game with you. And he works with us. He's a super great guy, so we get along great. So that's been a lot of fun working with him on that. I was able to get one of our artists that I'm good friends with, Darren Michelson. He's doing the art for it. It's basically think of let's see. Game of Thrones. There we go. Think of Game of Thrones in dice form. It's a like I said, it's a dice-based game, and it takes about 10 or 15 minutes to play. There's literally no downtime between turns because people are rolling dice in their off turns.
Oh, okay.
Everybody that we've played it with is able to pick it up really quickly. I played it with some soccer parents and people that are definitely not gamers, and they got it right away and they loved it and they were able to pick it up. There's some advanced rules that we're still kind of working on and tweaking more for the hardcore players. That is equally as fun, so that's been fun.
Oh, sweet. So it's strictly dice as far as the tactile aspect of it. There are no cards. There are no.
Yeah, no, there's no cards. There are a set of tokens that you get for rolling certain combinations of dice, and then there's a core component that is a crown, which everybody loves. He has a 3D printer, and so he printed up everything, and it's got this cool little crown that's actually going to come in the game. So
sweet,
nice. That's cool. That's right in my wheelhouse. I love a game that plays in 15 minutes to a half an hour. I'm kind of board game stupid. Like I'm not into all the big games and let's play for 2 hours. Like give me something we can play and we'll play a bunch of rounds or we'll play a couple different games in a couple hours.
They're very popular. It's a
Yeah.
huge draw for games of that ilk.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and this one, like, it plays so fast and easy that there are two stories I thought was kind of funny. So I was demoing Dirty Cops at Game Storm over in Vancouver, and one of the players had to go move her car, and so she took off, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine, we'll pause the game, it's cool. So while we were waiting, I'm like, hey, do you guys want to check out this other game? And they're like, well, sure. So I pull out Dice of Crowns, and we play through a game just as she's coming back. We're wrapping up. Like, it was just perfect, perfect
Wow.
timing. So it's one that you could actually, like, okay, we put our order in for food, you play through a game, and you're done by the time the waitress finally comes back around. Like, okay, let's eat. So it's cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's
Yeah,
pretty bad.
so being able to have something that short, but also that fun, because people get a lot of joy out of that. Like, it's just super super fun, and there's an interesting level of choice and strategy that's there as well that I think you don't always get in some of the more smaller compact games. So I really can't wait for this to come out. It's gonna be awesome.
And that's
Nice.
you said June?
June, that's about when we're targeting. Like I said, don't quote me 100% on it, but we'll be making more announcements on Twitter and on Facebook. So, but
Cool.
June's probably about when we'll have everything ready.
Gotcha.
Sweet. Well, we'll pencil you in.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, it'll be,
yeah. We're trying to get a bunch of product together now to send out for reviews. So we'll add you guys to the review list.
Sweet. Yeah, definitely get something up on the site.
Let's
Awesome.
see, what's the other one? The other one I can talk about just a little bit is tentatively called Smash Heroes. So games that I tend to develop have a little weird twist on things. So in this game, you're working as everybody is an orc, and they're trying to kill heroes. And it's kind of a deck builder, sort of. There's a bit of set collection and a little bit of take that to it, but it's just cards and pretty streamlined, designed to be about 20 to 30 minutes in gameplay length.
Okay. Cool.
You're speaking my language.
There you go.
Nice. Oh, cool. Well, it's good to hear, especially as a first-time Kickstarter creator, to have you come on and talk about, say, hey, no, we have more things planned. Like, we've got more stuff coming down the pipe, and hey, it's like 2 months from now.
Yeah.
Gives people, maybe on the fence, like, I don't know, should I get it? It's, the only thing they have, you're in, you're supportive, you've got more things coming, and I think that's a real positive things for people to hear. Be like, yeah, I'm definitely in. I want to be part of this.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, like I said, having a lot of experience in the game industry, I knew that we couldn't just put all of our eggs in one basket and just hope on Dirty Cops, like, because there's a chance that it won't fund. Like, that's definitely a possibility. So we wanted to have a backup plan, and part of our backup plan does include Dice of Crowns. So we kind of knew that going into it. So we've got different strategies that we can use to try and get the games funded. If one doesn't make it, then that's cool. We'll roll back and we'll tweak and get feedback from the backers. What would you like to see us do better? Because we really care about the community and love to want to hear more from the people that are following us, or maybe people that were just sort of on the fence. Like, we want to get their feedback as well.
Right. And there's no reason it shouldn't fund. I don't know what you people are waiting for. Go and buy the game now.
Do it now.
Yeah, all the art's done. Like, we're basically just waiting for the final bell, and then we're off to the printers. So.
Right. That's awesome too. And again, it's good for people to know, like, hey, we're already ready to go. Like, we're just we're waiting to get enough money to be able to do it and bring it to you and get it to your table.
Yeah. Yeah, Kickstarter is a different beast than it ever used to be in the earlier days. I think you're far more likely to be successful if you come in showing that, yeah, we've put our time and our own personal money and effort into trying to bring this to you. This is a much more finished project, not, hey, I've got an idea, give me a bunch of money and then I'll flesh it out, and in a couple of years maybe you'll see it.
Yeah. Your Kickstarter video shows some scraps of paper with words written on them. They're like,
Written
no,
on it,
it's
yeah.
really good.
Or you're like, I've actually seen a couple where you're lucky if you get paper. It's just like, here's a paragraph of my game design idea. I need
Yeah.
funding. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Well, how's your Kickstarter experience been? This is your first go through. How do you find things? Is it functional? Or are they supportive to you as a creator? What's your experience been like?
It's really interesting. There's some definitely hurdles that you need to kind of jump through regarding Kickstarter. Just the tool sets that they give you, I think they need some work, but they're functional. They're useful for getting things up, but I think as time progresses, the more people go through things and give them feedback, we'll start to see some of those tools get a little better and a little more useful. It's kind of early growing pains, because they've got so many different things coming through and different skill set levels coming through designing, project pages. The experience of mobile versus PC on Kickstarter is always, it's a little different as well, like how you approach things. There's things like I can't do on the mobile that I can do on the PC, and vice versa, and for strange reasons. So I think like maybe a year or two it'll be interesting to see how they kind of solidify that and make improvements on those tools. But overall, it's a pretty good experience.
Do they offer any sort of a not a questionnaire, like a survey at the end, like when you wrap your Kickstarter, like, hey, how did we do? Like when you're in a, end of a college class or whatever, do they offer that sort of do they solicit that sort of feedback from the developers?
That I'm not 100% sure, just because this is our first project that we put up, so we don't know quite yet. But I already have like a list of things we want to send them anyway, so we'll see. If they don't, then we're still just going to send them something unsolicited.
You hear that, Kickstarter? They're coming for you.
Dirty cops are coming for you, Kickstarter.
You want to take another one there, Vince?
Sure, why not? Well, we've been talking about gaming and your Kickstarter and your developing. When did you start gaming?
When did I start gaming?
Yeah, like when was your first gaming experience?
Gosh.
Like what started it all?
I was like, 5 or 6. Like I've been gaming since I was a little kid. Doing board games back in the 70s when the board gaming spectrum was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was.
I had the Garfield board game. That was an interesting thing. I think the first board game that I had that really captured my imagination was Dungeon.
Oh my god! Oh yes, yeah. The first one was what, 1969 or 1970?
I think so. Yeah, around 70.
I still have the original one.
Yeah, ditto here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go Dungeon for the win.
Sweet.
Nerds.
Right.
So that was the first game that really wow, there's a lot to this, sort of like gaming world. And then one of my friends in 5th grade started me into a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and that was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah. The old red box. So yeah, we went through that a whole bunch.
That's how I got my start, 1983 with the red box set and the Elmore cover.
Yeah, with that damn rust monster that they hit you with. Like, of
That's
all the
right.
creatures you're gonna give someone at the very beginning is a friggin' rust monster. Are you kidding me?
The other one was a carrion crawler.
Yes.
Yeah, carrion crawler and a goddamn rust monster. You're just finished. You're done.
Yeah, exactly. F that rust monster.
Now, do you remember? I still have a copy somewhere. The electronic Dungeons and Dragons.
The electronic Dungeons and Dragons. Was it like a handheld or?
It was it was crenellated like a castle. It was a square, maybe about a foot by a foot, and it had these little red square tiles with these little icons on them. And you had you had the little pewter figurine. There were 2 heroes, a treasure figurine and a dragon, and you had to maneuver your way around. And the board would make sounds, like if you hit a wall, it would make a sound, and you put a little wall thing. I can't go there. Then you try to move here, and if it made a 1 beep, then you can continue on for, I think each hero could go 5 or 6 moves. And what you had to do was go through and map the board and look for the treasure without waking the dragon up. It's kind of cool.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. I have to look that up. I don't even remember that one.
They
That sounds awesome.
you can still find copies on eBay.
Wow,
Yeah.
for like $300 or.
Yeah.
Strangely, no. I picked up a couple years ago. I picked up a copy for my nephews for I think about 60.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty reasonable for something like older.
It came out the same time Dark Tower did.
I have mine.
Dark Tower.
I have that.
Yeah.
There you go. And Dark Tower was a little more involved and had more commercial time than the electronic Dungeons and Dragons did. So
That one's a bit pricey still to try to find on eBay.
Yeah.
that one's a couple $100.
Yeah. I have mine. It still works. We tried playing it, I don't know, a year or two ago. It was like, oh, this sucks. I got the plague again. Fuck.
It had a well-known actor did the voice of the narration for the commercial. I forget.
Cool.
Yeah. We're going back now.
Atmosphere. If you're talking about older games, older board games, like one of the VCR games, I forget who made it, but I found that Atmosphere actually has someone digitized the video and put the video up on YouTube. So if you ever want to play Atmosphere, which I think Nightmare was the original name of the game, they did a couple of like remakes, and Atmosphere was one of the remakes. Because I was wanting to get that out and start playing it with my girls. It's such a really, really goofy game. The video sequences that they did were just really kind of poor, but hysterically poor.
That's pretty funny. So
That's
bad
cool.
it's good.
Right?
Yeah. Well, still talking about games, is there a particular kind of game that really gets you going, or game mechanic kind of thing? You're like, you see, you're like, oh, that's the best. I love this kind of game.
For me, it's definitely deck builders, and anything card based. I was a huge I still am, huge Magic the Gathering fan. I've been trying not to tap into that latest set. I'm like, I can't open that vein again. I got to be good. All my money's going into like Kickstarter and project stuff.
Yeah.
But I've got I've got like thousands and thousands of cards. I've probably got like, I don't know, 200, 300 decks like already built. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I gotta put a stop to this. This is nuts. Now I'm just like amassing all these different board games because I'm doing all this Kickstarter stuff. I got like 120 Kickstarters that I've done, something crazy.
Wow.
So I've basically moved one crazy focus over to another. I don't know if I'm doing any better or worse. But to answer back to your question, deck builders. I love deck builders a lot. Games that have a lot of theme to them that. I don't really get into Euros very much. I find them a little dry both on theme and just sort of me doing my thing and not really involving you. I like more games where you get to interact a lot more with players.
Mm-hmm. Something like Pandemic.
Pandemic's really good. Anything with like a take that element's cool, but also like cooperative stuff as well. We just did Warhammer Quest the other night, the tutorial on that, and that was a lot of fun. That's just cooperative, right?
So in the gotcha games, have you ever had anybody just like completely, like flip the table time, like, we're not doing this anymore?
Yes. Actually, in some of the playtests, I've had a couple people kind of lose their crap. One time it was at work actually with one of our coworkers, and she just lost her stuff, and it was like, okay, yeah, let's figure out, okay, why did this happen? Is this too rough, or is this unfairly take that? And we made a couple of changes to the game that actually kind of tweaked it, and then we had her play, like 9 months later, and she didn't have that same feelings that she had about it before. She's like, actually, this is a lot more fun now. I actually like this. Where before she's like, I can't play it. It's and then we had another playtest with a guy that decided he was just going to be that guy during the playtest and went after one person and just continually going after this guy, and like, okay, well, you can do that in any game. Like, you can't build a game to completely exclude the guy that wants to be that guy. So, and the lesson for those is just like, well, don't play with that kind of player. Don't bring
Yeah,
him
for
into
sure.
your game sessions.
Well, yeah, and that's really ballsy in a playtest to go out and be that guy. Like what? I guess he's probably like that in his home games and
Yeah, he did mention that his friends don't like to play Magic with him. Like, I can see why. Like, you're doing this to a guy that you don't even know. Like, you just sat down and started playing with this guy. Like, really? How are you with your friends? Like, do you play any games with anybody? Like, are they willing to do anything with you? That's crazy.
yeah.
Dial it back just a little.
Yeah, I don't see I don't get that mindset. Like when my brother and I play together, it's definitely like I'm gonna get you and whatever it is. Like we play BattleTech, we have a huge board set up and everything, and it's like I'm gonna kill you in the worst way possible as quickly as I can, and like we go at it pretty good, but it's my brother and we can both take it, and we'll
Yeah, when I came out there and played, you guys were bastards.
yeah. Well, we picked on you too because we could.
Oh, yeah. Bastard.
You're the new guy, so of course they gang up on that guy.
Exactly.
But
yeah,
again, that's with friends. That's with people that you know and like you trust, and you know that you're not really like crossing boundaries with each other. You know, you're like
exactly. Yeah, it was all good.
With strangers, just like yeah, there's a certain way you shouldn't play with people you're just meeting. Like, have a little bit of decorum there, buddy.
Yeah, you would think so.
There's a level of trust you have to gain first.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's just like role playing. I mean, you have to know your table and your group to know, what themes you can approach. You get a World of Darkness game or something like that, and talking about child abuse or something like that. Like you have to know like, are your players going to be okay with that kind of a story theme? That's not something you bring to the con and be like, okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah, I had a dad sit down with me at GameStorm, and he wanted his daughter to play. I'm like, okay, you understand the concepts of this game, right? Like, there's some take that to it. There's drugs and that sort of stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, it's just it's all in spirit of fun and the game. Like, we've played some different games at home, and she likes coming after me and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we get playing, and we had this other guy that played with us that didn't know either of them. And he took a turn where he beat up on the little girl a little bit, not unfairly, but just kind of in the spirit of the game, and she kind of just shut down, and we had to kind of end the game early because she was clearly like getting ready to kind of lose it, and his dad's like, well, I'm really sorry, we have to go, and I gotta like handle this. Okay.
It's like bringing it's like bringing your 10-year-old to go see Deadpool.
Right. Well, now I've played Dirty Cops with my 10-year-old daughter. Like she gets it, and again, like there are elements in the game that are maybe a little teenage, esque. Like there's drugs in the game, but we never specifically say what kind of drug or anything like that. We didn't want to make it take it to that next level.
Yeah. It's like money unit. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So. And I've played with her, and she loves the craziness that erupts when people start, playing action cards in each other. But again, like I know where her boundaries are. I know what her level is and what she's able to handle emotionally and all that kind of stuff. So.
Right. Yeah. It's completely a safe environment for you guys to be playing at home. Like.
Yeah. Exactly.
You wouldn't take her to the game store and be like, all right, hon,
I'm just gonna throw you in. Go ahead.
Play test today. Yeah. Different experience.
Yes.
You said you had played some Dungeons and Dragons. Do you have an RPG group that you still get a chance to play with, or no?
Off and on. It's been a while since we've been able to play. We had a 2-year-long D&D session that we were doing, D&D 3.5 that our game master was running, just because he had every single 3.5 edition book, and he was, and I think it was around the same time that 5 was coming out, and he was just in protest, like, no, I've put thousands of dollars into these books. I'm not throwing them all away just because you've got some new system. Like, we're just going to play 3.5. I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool, sure, fine, whatever. We played some games of, we did Fate a little bit. We did a gameplay session of Dungeon Crawl Classics on my birthday a couple of years ago. That game's just amazing. for a brutal game.
Yeah, bring 8 characters to the table.
Yeah, exactly. I love that concept too of bringing a bunch of different characters, and most of them are going to die, and whoever comes out, you feel heroic about that guy because he survived this massive slaughter.
Mhm.
It's like a Call of Cthulhu game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. And we'll circle back around. We'll say this is the callback. Do you have any expansions planned for Dirty Cops?
We do actually. We've got a bunch of different. We had a bunch of different ideas going in, like different villains that we want to bring to the game, different cops with different abilities. In the Kickstarter, there are. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different cops that you can actually play as once we get there and unlock it. And they're the main characters that you see in the Kickstarter art. All those cops are cards that you'll actually be able to play as, and they have special abilities. So we had different ideas like, oh, a cop with this ability, a cop with that ability. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we want to have for the expansion. And then as we've gone through and done playtests, we've had people go, it'd be really neat if you had X. And like, that's a good idea. Put that down on the list. Like, that'll be part of the expansion. So yeah, there's a lot of really neat things we have planned for more versions of the game. And when I came up with the idea, one of the things that I liked was that it was one that we could keep theming. We could branch out to other, not just expansions of the core set, but also doing things like, Dirty Cops in space, like have Space Cops, or Dirty Cops Old West. You've got the Old West Cops, or like a Miami Vice, 80s Miami Vice theme, or
that'd be great.
Right? There's a bunch of different ideas we could do with it.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, and again, positive for people here, like, hey, we're supporting this. We have more ideas. We've got expansions planned, new base sets. You got to get in on the ground floor. You got to get in now while the getting is good.
Right? Yeah, this isn't just a one-off thing that we're doing. Like, this is more of like an evergreen project that we want to do, and like keep building off and expanding the world and expanding the experience that people can have.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And that goes to the theme question. If you have Space Cops or Western Cops, it's the same game, but it gives you a completely different flavor, and maybe that captures a different audience.
Some new tweaks and adjustments to the rules so that the game still feels kind of fresh and interesting, but not a huge deviation from the original. So you're not like, well, what the hell am I playing now? This is completely different.
Cool. Very cool. All right, I'm about fresh out. Vince, do you have any off-the-cuff questions here?
No, that pretty much sums it up. I also added the public can't see that. Sorry, public, but for you, there's the Amazon, the dungeon.
Awesome.
You do have it on Amazon, yeah, and you can check that out.
Sweet, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Cool. We do still have a couple of questions, though. We'll roll right into our final 5 questions here.
Sure.
We have 5 geeky/nerdy questions. You can answer yes or no, or we can hash it out. We can kind of do a post-mortem. So we have Star Trek or Star Wars?
I gotta go Star Wars. I do like Trek, but man, Star Wars, especially with I had to pre-order the
lightsabers
combo and all that. Yeah.
Sweet. I didn't pick up mine. Do you know, are they going to release an extended version like 6 months from now? Like, I'm kind of hedging my bets.
Of course they're going to. Yeah.
They're gonna Peter Jackson it.
Yeah. This is the cash cow. They're going to keep releasing different versions. Like, I'm getting this knowing that 6 months, 8 months, a year from now, I'm going to be buying another version of the same movie. But whatever, it's all good. I really want the movie now.
Yeah. See, my dad bought it, so I'm just going to borrow his.
Well, and they're doing the crazy thing, like, well, do you want the Target version? Do you want the Walmart version? Do you want the, where else?
Different packaging?
Yeah, so, like, Target has, there's a special, like, 30-minute feature that's in that version, specifically just being sold at Target. The one at Walmart, I want to say, is a BB-8. Like themed version, like there's some special stuff in there. The one that's through Disney, you get some special lithographs. The one through Best Buy, I think that one might be the metal tin. Like each store has their own special one. So of course like there's going to be the completionists that were like, well, I need to go buy 12 different versions, because they're all different in some different way.
Yeah, they're like Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
Exactly.
All right. Tabletop or video games?
I got to go with tabletop. The whole reason I got into wanting to make a tabletop game outside of my regular stuff of working on video games is because of the communal nature, the thing that you don't really get in video games now, sitting down with all your buddies and,
Exactly.
beating the hell out of each other in Mario Kart or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't, oh, yeah, we can play online. Great. I want to, be face-to-face with you guys, so when I trash talk, you can see the anger and the fury in their eyes as you race across, and beat the hell out of them.
That one vein pulsing in their forehead.
Exactly. And I think that's why you're seeing that golden age of board gaming now, is because board gaming brings people back together and gets people playing together as a group, as a communal group.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely something we need these days with the phones and all the other stuff. People are so disconnected.
Yeah.
The community in general is really good because you are bringing people together, even if it's you with your friends, or you go out to the local game store and interact with a whole new world of people there. It's definitely it's a good situation.
Yeah, and it's good for families too. You get your kids unplugged from whatever game, or unplugged from Facebook, or unplugged from Instagram, or whatever they're focused on, and you can have this communal experience with your kids again, and be able to talk to each other, and have those bonding moments that end up being really lasting moments in your lives.
Definitely. Yeah, growing up, I used to play Parcheesi with my grandparents, and they taught me how to play Pinochle when I was a teenager, and we started playing Pinochle again with my parents. We taught my brother how to play just like a year or two ago. So usually after Sunday dinners, we play Pinochle. This past weekend, we played Cards Against Humanity, believe it or not.
Wow. That would have been amazing.
So my daughter's just about 16. And
okay.
She wanted to play, and we're like, eh. So I sat with my brother one day, and we took all of the worst cards out. Now, this is relative because
right.
It's Cards Against Humanity.
The worst.
Yeah. So we took it over, and we played. My parents had never played. They didn't know what it was. And I'm like, oh, it's like apples to apples. Like, we don't know what that is either. So we played. I think my mom wound up winning that first game. My dad was laughing so hard. His face was red. Oh, we had such a good time. And we brought it this past week. And my dad's like, "Oh, come on, we got to clean up the table. We're gonna play Pinochle." I said, "No, I brought Cards Against Humanity." And they're both like, "It's such a stupid game." I'm like, "Well, it's kind of the point. Like, it's dumb." So yeah, we played. My kid loves it. We have a good time. Like I said, the worst. I'm not a completely horrible parent. The worst cards are out of the deck.
Oh, that's awesome.
Family fun.
Exactly.
All right, we should probably move on from that. DC or Marvel?
Oh gosh, I have. So I'm gonna say Marvel.
But just say Marvel. Go ahead.
Marvel, their characters have a lot more depth to them, and they don't have the broken character of Superman. But I really like Batman a lot. I think he's a character with a lot of depth. But Marvel characters on the whole tend to have a lot more broken elements to their character, a lot of character flaws, and I think that makes for a much more richer storytelling experience that you can offer to people.
Sure.
Plus, I mean, let's face it, Marvel is killing it as far as movies go. They're doing everything right, and DC just kind of keeps fumbling and dropping the ball. I think they're doing pretty well on the TV side of things,
right.
With things like Gotham and Flash and all that. But yeah, they just can't get their crap together movie-wise.
No.
Do you have any interest in going to see the Superman v Batman or no?
I did see it actually. I felt like as a card-carrying geek, that was my job to see the movie. Plus, my daughter wanted to see it. I'm like, okay, well, I know I'll save my feelings. We'll find out what it's like. And yeah, there was things that were good about it, and there was things that were just terrible about it. and I think Zach just doesn't get Superman. Like, the thing that makes Batman and Superman interesting is that Superman is always the good guy. He's the Boy Scout. He's the bright, shining sun, right? He's that element of happiness. And Batman's a dark and brooding darkness character. But when you make Superman the dark, brooding darkness character, then you've got this movie that's dark, brooding guy and dark, brooding guy against each other. Like, well, that's just not interesting. Like, you've cut that element out of it.
Yeah. I'm not going to see it. I don't. HBO, maybe. I'll check it out. To go pay money.
Rent it off Redbox.
When your dad buys it, you'll borrow it again, right?
Probably, yeah. Because he'll buy it before it comes out on HBO.
Yep. Dad, I'm gonna borrow it.
Yeah. Well, I borrowed Age of Ultron, and it sat in front of my TV for about 2 months, and then I just gave it back to him. I said, "Forget it. I'm not gonna watch it." I just don't have the time.
Fair.
Now this ass here has not seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet. Can you believe it? See, yes.
What? Dude, okay, you have to make time to see that movie. Like, no excuse is okay. You have to see that movie.
See?
Right, I'll tell you what happened. I'm sitting in the kitchen one night, and we have like a great room, so kitchen, living room's all kind of together. My ex is watching it with my daughter.
Well, that's why. There you go. That's why.
Well, no, because I had like one ear to the TV, and I kind of like turn around and watch, and it seemed like the stupidest movie.
It's not.
And I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna watch it. She's like, you gotta watch it. It's really funny. I'm like,
the movie reads like a well-written book, the way it's constructed. It's just nonstop funny. The action is not ridiculously contrived. It's well done. It makes sense. Just shut up and watch it.
The comedy isn't like stupid comedy either. Like,
exactly,
it's well-paced comedy, and it's varying degrees of like there's some like goofiness, but a little lowbrow, but there's some highbrow humor as well. Like, I know they did a phenomenal job with it.
Yes. So you have to stop it. Just watch it.
Listen to this guy. He speaks truth.
Exactly.
I hear this every time we do this.
Keep riding him.
Exactly. We're gonna whittle you down. We're gonna wear you down. You're gonna watch it.
Well, okay. When you come out, we'll watch. You bring it, and we'll watch it.
All right.
Okay. So that begs the follow-up question: have you seen Deadpool?
No,
I have not.
Wow.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah.
Yes. If you like Guardians of the Galaxy, like, I think Deadpool like raises that notch a little higher.
Oh shit. Okay.
If you like Deadpool at all,
I do.
You'll love the movie. It's amazing. They knocked it out of the park.
All right. I heard it's worth it just for the end with the nod to Ferris Bueller. So.
Yes. Oh yes, that was amazing. Yeah. I mean, and that movie spurned the DC movie. I can't think of the title right now. The one with Harley Quinn.
Oh, Suicide
Squad.
Oh,
yeah, like spurned them to go, we need to add some more comedic elements into our movie because the only ones that are in there are the ones that have been in the trailer. Apparently that was like all the like funny parts of the movie. And once Deadpool came out and just killed it, they're like, crap, we need to kind of like up this comedy factor in this movie. Which I would say, yes, they absolutely need to. If that's it, then yeah, dude, you're missing the mark.
Yeah, I didn't see it, not for lack of wanting to go, but we haven't been to the theater. The last thing I saw was Crimson Peak. So I haven't been to see anything. I haven't been to see anything since. What? Oh yeah, no, we saw Star Wars. Yeah, that's right. That's my kid. You saw Star Wars, dumbass.
Correcting you.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm old. What do I know? I can't remember shit.
Gotta love daughters.
Bastard.
She's cackling in the kitchen now. And actually, I saw it twice, so I should remember.
Yeah, what the hell?
Tell her said bravo.
Yeah.
Her job is to give Dad as much crap as possible, so she's doing her job.
I'll take it. All right. Sci-fi or fantasy?
Probably fantasy. I do like some sci-fi stuff, but I don't know. So it depends on the medium. Like medium for reading books, I tend to go more fantasy. If I'm watching movies, it's probably going to be more sci-fi. There's so much crap that's out there in fantasy for movies.
Yeah.
There's a few exceptions, like Peter Jackson's stuff has been really good.
Yeah.
But man, there's so much terrible stuff.
How about the rumors of the next D&D movie? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We've been burned so many times.
They've got the director that did Shark Tales and Gulliver's Travels, and it's you know what? Does anyone who works on these movies actually play Dungeons and Dragons?
Right.
I don't understand.
If only they had a resource that they could go to with people that have written good Dungeons and Dragons material. If only that existed in the world.
I know, right? God. Jeez.
Yeah,
it seems pretty silly.
You could start up a campaign like for WotC, like please, for the love of God, get anyone of your writers to be a part of this.
I think doesn't Warner Brothers hold the rights to Dungeons and Dragons media?
Probably.
Well, that's your problem right there.
Yeah.
Damn it, Warner Brothers! Yeah. Get your shit. You got to do this. You got to get your shit together.
You need to send WotC over to kick their butts.
Yeah. Honestly. All right, and the last one we have is if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
The superpower. I think one of the last people said flight, and that's pretty customary. Oh God, there's a comedian that did a bit on that. Like, sure, everybody wants to fly. Like, I think his bit was he would want to be able to shoot spaghetti out of his fingers. So if anyone was really rude to him, he'd just spray him with spaghetti. For me, I'm a big fan of Wolverine and Deadpool, and I think that ability of being able to regenerate anything would be super helpful, because then you don't worry about whatever you're doing. Like, yeah, okay, I'm driving down, I'm not wearing my seatbelt, whatever. I might go through the car window and get lacerated up, but I'll heal in 5 minutes, so it's all good. Don't worry about it.
Fling yourself down a flight of stairs to get there quicker.
I think you could have some really comedic moments where you could intentionally fall out and oh my God, I'm gonna die. You fall and your friends freak out. And you're like, I'm all good. It's okay. You jerk.
And tell yourself.
Well, let me ask you this then, since this is the power that you chose. It's interesting because I was thinking about something else today, and I meant to ask you earlier, as complete non sequitur to anything else that was going on, but it sort of segues. If you could if I could turn you into a vampire today, and you didn't have to murder people to live and whatever, would you do it?
Would I have to be a sparkly vampire?
No, traditional vampire.
Traditional vampire. Okay.
Like a Dracula vampire. Dracula kind of.
Would I miss the cell that much? I probably actually wouldn't mind doing it. I mean, I spend most of my time gaming and indoors anyways. I don't get out a whole lot.
Yeah,
so okay.
You know what? You could always wear a motorcycle helmet and go outside. There you go.
Yeah, SPF 50 or something like that.
SPF 400. No.
Well, not even that. So if it was just you, I mean, it's like an existential thing, right? So everybody that you know then in a certain period of time will be gone, and it'll just be you forever.
Some people you don't mind if they're gone.
Well, that's true. That's true. But your parents, your kids, your whatever.
Yeah.
I think this is the downside of any sort of longevity, characters, and I think they touch upon that a little bit with Wolverine, through the ages, where he's lost people and he deals with that loss pretty hardly. But that is an aspect of it. But you would also be able to make lots of new friends as well. So I think there's
to see cultures rise and fall.
Yeah,
it'd be amazing.
New technologies come and go, and
I'd take it.
Yeah, just something I was pondering today for no particular reason.
while you're on the crapper.
No, I don't even remember what I was doing. I think I was at work, and I just started thinking about it. I'm like, man, that's really tough. I don't know. Like, you'd never die. Well, I mean, I guess you'd be dead, sort of, already, but, you wouldn't exist, forever, presumably.
Unless someone
could you father more children? Because that'd be kind of interesting. You'd have like, well, okay, I've had a generation with no kids. Let's have some kids. Then you go a generation with kids. You're like, okay, I'm done with the kid thing. Let's do it. It's kind of cycle through.
Would you have to be a certain age? Like, so we're old enough where we could, drive and drink and vote and, do whatever you want to do. If you were like 16 or 17, would that be a different answer? Because you literally couldn't really do anything.
Right.
Legally.
Yeah.
Anyway.
As much as I don't like Anne Rice, her when she covered the idea of a little girl being stuck at a vampire age, I thought that was rather hysterical, because you've got this girl that's like, she never hits puberty and she's stuck being a little girl for the rest of her life. That's gotta suck.
Yeah, that's rough.
You'd be in school forever.
Yeah, really.
You're 5 years old and you've gone through, you're in senior year, like, this is terrible. I'm smarter than everybody here. But I can't reach the top of the lockers.
I'm not allowed to cook. Well, I guess you wouldn't cook if you did. Yeah. Oh, well. All right. Well, we want to thank you for coming on. That's all we got. Give us all of your contact stuff, website. Let's get all that stuff out there for people to find you.
Cool, yeah. On Facebook, we're Dirty Cops Game. On Twitter, Dirty Cops Game. You might be seeing a theme. On Instagram, we're Dirty Cops Game. So, easiest way to find us. Thing12 is on Facebook as well. Thing12 Games. On Instagram, I believe it's Thing12 Games as well. You can hit us up on email, dirtycopsgame@gmail.com, and thing12games@gmail.com.
Sweet. There it is. You have no excuses to get in touch with Sean to go and order this game. Go to Kickstarter, search in their little discovery thing there for Dirty Cops Game. Order yourself a box there. It's $35. You get it cheap. Go do it right now. We'll wait. We'll still be
Stop what you're doing.
All right. Again, we want to thank you for coming on. We're going to give our little spiel here now. You can find us on our website, legendsoftabletop.com. You can reach out to us, provide us feedback, comments, criticism. Why the hell are you still doing this? Give us all that. It's legendsoftabletop@gmail.com.
Yeah, this course we'll take anything.
Yeah, we'll take whatever you have. We're on all the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter. I think I said Twitter twice because it's twice as nice.
The Twitter.
Yeah. And that's it. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.